It's very easy to lose your tools. You can lend one to a friend who doesn't return it, or you leave one on a job and when you go back it's gone. And even if you find it, it's mixed up with other people's, and it's hard to prove that it's yours. Best thing is to put your name on it. Ideally, engrave it into the steel. But not everyone has an engraver that will tackle hard steel. Don't despair, you don't need one. You can do it with simple chemistry. First of all, make sure that the tool you're going to engrave is carbon steel. This doesn't work with nickel-plated steel or chrome-plated steel or stainless steel, but it does work with carbon steel because that's a mixture of iron and carbon, and that will work very well indeed. To do this, you need very simple stuff. It's sold in a hardware shop or a gardening shop as copper sulfate or bluestone. And it's fairly expensive, so you don't need a whole box like that. You try and scrounge some from a friend or a gardener. That's about 5 or 6 times as much as you need for this operation. It's a beautiful blue crystal, sits in a bottle like that. Well, to prepare it, it's very simple. You just get a bit of water into a small container. That's about half full, that's all you'll need. And you tip the copper sulfate in and stir it around. Now, make sure that you use too much. By that, I mean make sure that there are still crystals sitting at the bottom of that liquid when you've dissolved as much as you can. And that means that this beautiful blue liquid on top is a saturated solution of copper sulfate. That's what you want. While that's happening, you get your tool ready. And you make sure that it's free of any rust or any grease. And by that, I mean go over it with something like emery paper or sandpaper, get all the rust off, finish it off with a fine steel wool so it's nice and shiny, then wipe it down and don't touch it again. That's really ready to be plated. For that you need a small brush. You put it in this saturated copper sulfate, get off too much in case it runs all over the blade, and then write what you like. I'm going to put my initials, and as I do you'll see that clear liquid suddenly goes a bit dark, then it goes pink, then a pinky brown, and what's happening is that the copper is coming out of the copper sulfate onto the steel, but it's been replaced by iron coming out of the steel into the solution, and that's slightly etching the steel blade. Well, when you've finished doing that, you wait till the reaction is really finished. You don't want to smear that over the blade in case it makes a mess, so get a slightly damp cloth, get it ready and wipe as quickly as you can, and there's your initial left in copper sitting on the blade. Now that won't stay very long. You can take it off with a steel wool, but you'll still see the ghost of it sitting there in a sort of dark shadow. And if you want it darker, just go over the initial again and again, same process, until it's as dark as you want. Now you may not trust your hand writing with water in case it goes everywhere, so there is a refinement you can do. Get this stuff, it's cellulose wallpaper paste. And cellulose is a sort of chief ingredient of wood really, and made into a paste and put into water, it thickens it up. That's a thin paste, it's really a syrup, but it's much less freely running than the water I had before. Same amount of copper, still got the crystals at the bottom. Then you take your pre-prepared tool, this is easier to work with, write your initials again, there we go, clear, dark, pink, brown, leave it for a bit and quickly wipe, and there's your name again. You'll never lose a tool again.